you to have the things that you want to have, you need to do things that will put you out of your comfort zone. In order for you to do those things, you have to change who you are and change your identity.
Welcome to the Chingona Revolution podcast, where we will bring out your inner badass Latina, overcome self-doubt, help you gain clarity, and pave your own path, all while leading with courage. I am your host, Latina coach and speaker, Erica Cruz. What would you do if 5 days after signing for a business, the previous owner stole $7,500 and disappeared? That is exactly what happened to today's guest. Andrea Palacio had already done the hard stuff. She left corporate, built a thriving e-commerce business, sailed across the freaking Caribbean with her husband for 4 years, just the two of them and their dogs, and she was living the dream. Then they bought a landscaping company, and 5 days after closing, the previous owner was gone. The money was gone, the manager quit, and on the way out, told all 12 employees not to bother staying either because revenue had dropped significantly, and the manager said they were not going to make it. Andrea had a toddler, a newborn, an SBA loan, and her family home on the line as collateral. Quitting was not an option. So she and her husband did what you would do whenever your back is against the wall. They showed up, worked 80-hour weeks. Her husband was doing all the manual labor in the Florida heat. And Andrea was home with the babies, answering every call, holding it all together. And when the workload became unsustainable, she did something that changed everything. She taught herself AI. Today, we are having a conversation with Andrea about how she's implemented AI in her landscaping business, how it became a thriving business. We also talk about the power of a personal brand and how she leverages AI to help her grow her social channels. She also shares what she thinks every business owner needs to do to start implementing AI. I can't wait for you to hear this conversation. Let's get into it. Andrea, welcome to Chingona Revolution podcast. How are you?
Thank you, Erica. I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
I'm excited for this conversation. I have so many questions for you, but for the people who may not know who you are yet, can you just give us a brief intro and overview of who Andrea is?
Yeah, of course. Well, I am a freedom lover. I left my corporate job in 2016, started an e-commerce business with my husband. We were able to travel full time for about 7 years. Then during that period of time, we sailed across the Caribbean for 4 years, just the two of us and our two dogs. I got pregnant, went back to Miami. We sold our e-commerce business and decided to acquire a landscaping company. And that company nearly broke us. And that's when we decided to sell the business. And as we decided to sell, I said, you know what? While this sells, I need to figure something out because it is so overwhelming. I cannot deal with all the calls. We went from $70,000 in revenue down to $40,000 in revenue. We went from 12 employees down to 2 employees after spending all of our life savings and everything. And I got in debt with the SBA to acquire this company, right? And so I ended up getting into artificial intelligence and automations to try to solve my own business problems. And I automate the business to the point where we finally get an offer to buy our company. And we said, thank you, but we don't want it anymore because now our business is automated and operating on its own to the point where we are pretty happy with the business now. So we don't need to sell anymore. And that's what got me into the world of AI. Now I bought a little bit over, maybe 9 months ago. I told my husband, we still own the company, but I told my husband I didn't want to run the business with him anymore, that I was going to follow what I actually love doing, which is AI and automations and helping other businesses that are going through the same thing that we went through at some point. And so I started in consulting, helping business owners really solve their business problems by having AI employees working for them and putting together clear systems that would allow them to maximize their resources. And then I started a coaching program, and that's where I'm at.
Amazing. Yeah, I could not imagine you at a corporate job after everything you described you did between traveling full time for 7 years, sailing across the Caribbean, and then buying a business. So, you know, what stands out to me from your story is that so many people want to go through life without challenges, but very commonly, we end up getting so much insight through those challenges. If you hadn't acquired this business that started to decline in revenue and you even made the decision like, I'm going to let this go, and I feel like that also relieved the pressure of trying to make it work, and in that you
Hmm.
almost open the door of opportunity to pivot to your next
Yeah.
business. So I think that that's so
Yeah.
interesting, and we spend so much time avoiding struggles, but on the other side of these challenges, especially in business, can be amazing breakthroughs. So I know you had mentioned before our call that you had bought this like boring business of landscaping because you had watched a lot of YouTube videos so about acquisition. So tell us a little bit about what that journey was like. How did you go? Because I don't think you were born thinking, I want to buy a landscaping company. Something happened
Definitely
along the
not.
way that made you really interested in it.
Definitely. Yeah. And I love that you just said that because you couldn't have said it any better. I learned that getting outside of my comfort zone is what makes me grow. And so even when we were living on the sailboat, I would force myself. I was at first, like anybody, I wouldn't want to, it's not that I wouldn't want to, but I would just force myself to get in the water with sharks and die with sharks. And just because I felt like facing that fear would force me to just level up in some way. Right. So the reason why we decided to acquire a landscaping company is because we were stuck with the e-commerce business. We felt like professionally, we just weren't growing anymore. And while living up on the sailboat, we found a lot of strengths and weaknesses inside both, myself and my husband, right? I was always the girl behind the computer, and my husband was like, I'm very manual. He became a plumber, an electrician. He was not able to solve every single problem inside the boat. And I was like, yeah, I'm not touching that. I'm not interested. Right. And so when we sold the company, we wanted a business that would have kind of the best of both worlds. Right. So I told them, I'm like, well, at the end of the day, I can always do marketing, admin, customer service. I'm going to be behind a computer. Just don't expect me to do anything related to the landscaping company. Right. But for him, it was the equipment, the people, just being very hands on. And for him, it was like what would require his strengths, right? We didn't think of a landscaping company initially. We thought of like a boat business or something like that. But as we were watching, we started going into YouTube and watching all these videos from M&A experts like Cody Sanchez and Roland Fraser, and we took their courses and we kind of like did all of that. And they're like, yeah, buy a boring business, a landscaping company. And we're like, a landscaping company, how hard can it be to just push a mower, right? Like it can't be that hard. Oh my God, were we wrong? We just went against this massive wall, and that's really why we bought the business, because we thought, okay, we acquire the landscaping company and buy a 2 or 3 or 4 more businesses, and then we just exit and we are rich. Definitely not like that. So that's what happened.
Oh, so interesting. And I bet, I mean, just being on a sailboat for that long, I can imagine that you learn so much about yourself, so much about each other, because there's not the constant stimulation of the outside world. It's like you and the ocean, and almost I wonder how that experience also trusted you to really listen to your intuition and understand your strengths and weaknesses, like you mentioned with, your husband, how he learned how to do all these different things. So how do you think that that influenced the next phase of your life?
Just massively. I would not be here had it not been for that experience, because the whole reason why I decided to just get into AI was because I had, when you spend 7 years traveling full time in a sailboat, we were kiteboarding when we felt like it, scuba diving when we felt like it, traveling when we felt like it, doing absolutely everything we wanted with our time. And we had a business that was allowing us to pay for that, right? And suddenly when we just say, okay, let's get in debt for this business, let's go back to living in a house, let's have babies at the same time, right? Because at the same time we're having a newborn, and
Mhm.
no, I was pregnant with my second one, and my oldest was 6 months. And so doing that, you completely lose all the freedom that you have, right? So you go from having all the freedom in the world to now working 80 hours a week because you have to, because your business is failing, right? If you don't do
Yeah.
anything, you have to, when you get an SBA loan, you have to give your house or your personal assets as collateral. So our personal home was the collateral for the business purchase, right? For the loan. And so if we didn't work, we would lose our home. If we didn't work, we now had 2 kids. if we didn't work, right? Like no option. And
Yeah.
so that's what really forced me to say, okay, we need to figure this out. Like we either sell the company and do something else, or think of this, because at that time AI was like ChatGPT had just been released. It was very new. I was like, well, let's see what this can do, right? And so thank God it worked out because I didn't know what would have happened otherwise, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. So now tell us a little bit about what happened once the moment after you bought the company, because you mentioned that the previous owner disappeared after 5 days of closing
Mm-hmm.
and stole a good amount of money, and the manager quit, and it was pretty much just like chaos. So how did you even
Chaos.
survive those first 30, 60, 90 days as business owners?
Yeah, it. I can honestly tell you, it was one of the hardest times of my life. Like in the sense that, again, we you buy this company thinking that this is going to be a great investment, right? That it's going to allow you to have the freedom and not just be free, but be a millionaire, a multimillionaire, right? That was the goal. And we end up with something completely different where we are losing clients, like our biggest clients, we lost them. We went again from those, having a large crew to just having two employees barely doing the thing. And mind you, it was so bad. Like we lost all the employees because what happened was that the previous business owner, he said there was a pending project. We ended up completing the project, and he had already received the money up front. He didn't pay us anything, so we ended up being on the hook for $7,500. Right. On top of that, he just disappears just 4 days later. So we have we bought this landscaping company not knowing anything about landscaping. I had no idea a Christmas palm was called a Christmas palm, right? Like I had no idea of any type of like reference when it comes to plants. And so what ends up happening is that obviously as we take over, the employees realize that we don't know what we're doing. They realize that, they all start asking for raises. Then the manager says, I don't think these people are going to make it. And he gathers everybody at the gas station and just says, hey, these guys are not going to make it. You guys all better start looking for another job. And when that happens, we end up just going from those 12 employees down to 2 employees. We are now trying to keep the clients that we have left and complete the project. So my husband ends up having to become a laborer to go out there in Florida to do the job and perform the job so we wouldn't continue losing more clients. And I'm at home with the babies, answering phone calls, figuring out how to keep the clients happy and how to get more leads because we're losing clients every single day. And so it's a really scary situation because we thought we knew something about business, and clearly we didn't, right? An e-commerce business is a completely different beast from a service-based business. And going through that situation, it's when you realize you're like, all right, one option is just to quit and to fail and to let the SBA just take her home and and feel like we've got nothing left. Or the other option is just to just come back to what you're made of, strengthen yourself, and how do we move forward from here? Like, yes, we don't know what you're doing. Yes, this happened. Now we need to move forward. And so that's when I start trying to learn Google Ads. That's when my husband starts doing labor, sales. We team up together and we're like, okay, you're good at this. I'm good at this. Let's just figure this out, right? And we got the business back up to where it was. We then automated it with AI, and yeah, it was just finding
Wow.
strength in the hard situations.
Yeah, because I'm sure there was a moment there where you were like, we totally made a mistake. What did we get ourselves into? Why did we do this?
A
And
100%.
then, yeah, and then to see all the employees leave, and then to see you build it up and probably make it even more successful than it was before. Like, what a comeback story. What a fun way to, like, that's the best revenge, right? Success is the
Yeah,
best revenge. And believing in
totally.
yourself as well. So
100%.
with AI, you had made an attempt to hire somebody on Upwork and it didn't work out. So tell us about that, because I think you, in your mind, knew AI could help you,
Yeah,
but you didn't know AI yet. So you attempted to outsource it. And then what
I
happened?
did. Yeah, I did. I had this vision. I'm like, okay, I'm so overwhelmed with all this customer service phone calls and like trying to respond to everything and schedule the crew and do all those things. And so I had a vision. I don't know why. I was like, well, at the time you had IVR menus, which are basically where you're like, okay, press one if you want to be connected to sales, press two if you want to be connected with customer service, right? And so in my head, I'm like, well, this thing AI, it's supposed to do things automatically, right? So let me just put together an AI voice agent that, well, at the time I'm just thinking of like the AI thing that will just, when people say I have a problem or a complaint, they'll just send them to a complaint department, which will handle like a form or something, right? So I end up hiring someone on Upwork to say, like, listen, this is the vision. I give him a diagram. It should do exactly this step by step. And 5 months later, $700 paid up front. And I got nothing. He's like, just a dialogue flow that would not do absolutely anything. And so when that happened at the same time, I tried hiring someone else to help me with a few like automations on make.com, which is essentially a platform that allows you to just create like a process. Something happens after a specific task, right? After a specific trigger. And so I hire someone and she creates it in my account. I'm like, wait, it's that easy? Like, that's it? So I just dive into this deep rabbit hole and just ended up learning everything, just spending hours and hours on YouTube. And I said, I have to figure this out myself. I end up building the customer service AI agent who becomes our receptionist, books our calls directly in our CRM, is now connected to our to Jobber, which is what we use for the landscaping company, answers the phone, is able to help people, give them information, answer questions. And that just frees me up so much, right? And so we end up doing a couple more things, like as soon as we service a property, they get automated images and notes from the crew on what they said. So all these things that just start giving us all that time back. And we're now like, wow, this is really working. And now we have AI running our marketing, AI running our customer service, AI to help us with sales. So it is now like, it's all over my life.
Yeah, and I feel like almost every conversation online now has something to do with AI. And on one side of it, it's like, oh wow, AI is so powerful. And I think there's another side of it where people are almost not offended by AI, but almost concerned about what's going to happen to what's going to happen to us. Is our job going to be replaced and all these different things? And I understand that, but I also understand that as small business owners, we're very limited. Like, most small businesses fail, right?
Yeah.
And within the first 5 years. And
Yeah.
as small businesses, we're limited when it comes to funding, especially individuals of color, right? We don't have as much access to funding.
Yeah.
We don't have all the time in the world either I think specifically Latinos, like, we've been trained to work so hard and overwork and
Yeah.
like, oh, I'll just kind of like do it all myself. And it all takes hard work for success. And I think we also have this opportunity with AI where we can build successful businesses without breaking our backs. So there's also this like really positive side of it. And I'm sure you've gotten mentions from both sides. So I'm wondering, how do you navigate that?
Yeah, I love that you just said that because we really do. And I found that I had that mindset. I'm like, I have to work really hard in order for me to be able to make money. And when I come across AI and it makes it so easy for me to make money, right? And for me to grow on social media and for me to do a lot of things that I've been able to do in just the past 6 months, it comes down to understanding. And this is kind of what I share with the business owners that I work with and my coaching program is, first, we need to change the identity, right? The mindset. We need to understand that AI is not going to replace us, but we do have to become AI first companies where we start directing AI to do specific work for us. It doesn't mean that AI is going to completely replace us and do everything for us. But why do you want to be doing data entry on a spreadsheet, right? If you could actually be having a conversation with a client where you're, just making a sale or you're building the strategy and the vision for your company. Those are two tasks that are going to generate you a lot more money than if you're just doing research or just doing data entry, right? Like what I propose to business owners is not, don't just abandon the work that you do. It's not abandoning the work. You are delegating to a fully trained and capable entity that you have trained based on your business, how you like to do things, what you don't like to do, how you like to sound, how you don't like to sound. So if you do it right, you'll be able to delegate so much work that will just allow you to just level up and be able to grow the business. Obviously, utilize your resources in a much effective and efficient way, right? And so with AI, it's just like, yes, there's this fear element to it, like what's gonna happen? Is it gonna take over the world? Like this movies type of thing, right? But my coach said something that it really kind of stuck with me, and it's I'd rather be an optimist than a pessimist, right? I'm not gonna know what's gonna happen in 30 years from now or 20 years from now. So why would I spend the next 30 years just worrying that it's going to take over our lives and kill all of us, right? Instead of thinking like this is actually something that I can use and it's going to help me grow in my business, both personally but professionally. It's going to give me time back for me to be with my kids and giving them time that I didn't have before, right? That's something that is life changing, that AI allows you to do that. So.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And to your point about how you use it makes a big difference. And in my coaching program, I have something called the Mindset Mija Bot, which is all about helping my clients overcome a mindset block. And it's trained on my framework. So it's not like they're getting random advice from a robot.
Right.
They're getting
Right.
my own framework at any time. So,
Yep.
and I've even thought about this, like, oh, is this replacing me or somebody else? And I'm like, no, because they can use this little automated thing any time of the day, while they can
Yeah.
only see me on our weekly coaching calls. And yeah, they can message me in our community, but I'm probably going to take a day to respond. And for
Yeah.
them, if they're having a moment where they're really freaking out about something and they know that they need coaching, they could go to that at any time. So there's also that where it's convenient for my clients, for your customers in the landscaping
Totally.
business, as well as your clients in your coaching program. So tell us what's kind of like the biggest mistake you see business owners make with AI or not using it? Like what is the first thing you suggest they do?
That's a great question. So I think it was 4 types of business owners that I was sharing in a video the other day. The first one's the ones that's, just thinking that AI sucks because they're just using ChatGPT and they just ask questions, it answers. So they're stuck thinking that that's AI. And so that's the number one mistake. It's like, no, AI, it's not just to answer questions. It's just that you don't know how to use it and implement it in your business correctly, right? The second person is like, they are now becoming the technical people in their business. And so now they're spending all their time building all these tools because Claude Code allows you to build so many solutions and you can suddenly do so many things, but you stop focusing on the things that actually make you money in your business, right? And so what happens is that because it took me 3 years to be where I am right now with AI, right? It's been a lot of trial and error in knowing what works and what doesn't. And so what is happening with business owners is like, yes, they're spending all of that period of time, trial and error. So you have to remember that when you want to do something, right, you either invest your time or invest your money. And so when you invest your time, it's going to take you a really long time for you to get to where you need to get to. But you're eventually going to get there, right? And so, but their business is the focus of their business should always be that strategy, that vision, and the sales, which is what really keeps the business going. Because at the end of the day, implementing AI is just something technical, right? You wouldn't hire someone. I wouldn't be doing the landscaping work in my company, right? I need to be the head of the company. The other issue that I saw with business owners is thinking that we have co-work and this agentic tools like Manus co-work, and we think that that's it. Like this is so good, this is great. And don't get me wrong, co-work is incredible. I love co-work. Manus is really good. But when you get to that level 5, what I call the level 5, the engineer, right? When you're using Claude Code, you don't just use the solutions that are already available to you, but you start coming up with the problems and AI is building whatever solution needs to be built. So if the tool is not available, if the solution is not available out there, it will build it for you. And so that's where it gets extremely powerful, because you can literally, and I mean it when I say that, you can do absolutely anything you want with your business. Automate anything, create a system, create an employee, create absolutely anything that you want. So as long as you can come up with the problem, right? Now it's not a matter of like, is this problem solvable? Because it is, right? It's just what problem to solve, right? And so it's understanding that we need to really look at our business as consultants. And so it makes me really think, because I was questioning myself. I'm like, I'm probably not going to have a job later on because AI is going to be so good that it could just do everything on its own, right? But it's not a matter of like, can AI do the solution? It's like, can you come up with the problem, right? So what I do is really look
Right.
at a business and say, the problem is here. Like, let's fix this first, because once we fix this, right? Let's say designing, right? Production, whatever. The problem is here because we don't have XYZ. That will allow me to just input that into AI, and AI is then going to do all the work, whether that looks like a system, an automation, an AI agent. We're just going to know exactly what to build. So that's kind
Yeah.
of, yeah.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense because AI is so powerful, but if you're not using it intentionally, or if you still don't understand your business from a leadership perspective or from a
Mm-hmm.
strategy perspective, you're just going
Yeah.
to do a whole lot of
Mm-hmm.
work that's not actually making an impact on your bottom line.
100%.
What
Totally.
about the people who are listening and they're like, what is she talking about with AI agents and AI employees? It's like they might be imagining an actual, what are they called? Humanoids, like walking around in their house,
Yeah.
like helping them do different things. Can you explain to us what that means for somebody who may not be that versed in AI?
Of course, of course. So when I say AI employees, is we literally have AI doing the work for us, right? So when I mention AI agents, I mean you have a brain, which is the AI that thinks and reasons through things, and you're giving it hands to actually do work. And the hands are that you're giving it access to the tools that you use. So that's Gmail, that's Slack, that is your CRM, that is your phone, right? You're giving AI access to absolutely everything. So now that it can reason, now that it has context on your business, on who you are, what you do, your service, the pricing, your SOPs, what you like to do, what you don't like to do, right? And your standard operating procedures. So when you have an agent that is trained on all of that, it can now actually, you can say to it, okay, I want you to, so I'll give you an example on my own business, right? My coach told me, hey, Andrea, like you need to start helping more people. You need to launch the coaching program because people need your help doing this, right? So I end up saying like, okay, how am I going to do this? So I just tell my AI agent, right? I send him a message on Telegram and I say, I want you to launch my website and I want you to put together a website for the coaching program, enroll people, masterclass, payment links. It literally just went straight to Stripe, got the payment links. It went to my website, built the entire thing. Normally, like if you took me back to 10 years ago, I would have had to go on WordPress, use, I don't know if Elementor was back then, but use Elementor or use HTML to build the thing, build a website, get the payment links connected to the website, all of that. It was done by my AI agent in just a couple of minutes, right? And so that is what I mean when I say you have AI employees. You direct them, telling them exactly what they need to do, and they're going to do the job for you.
Amazing. Yeah, that any type of sales page or like you mentioned, getting the links, all of that is so time consuming. I've also
So
heard of
time
people who maybe aren't business owners, but using AI agents to help them do basic things that we keep procrastinating, like cleaning up their inbox.
Yeah,
And which
100%.
is so simple, but
Super simple.
so essential for it's a task that's like, oh, that's not that hard, but how long have you been procrastinating on it?
Totally.
Yeah.
You can even go to the point like AI will go through your entire computer. Like, how many of you guys just randomly take screenshots, save all your files in your desktop, and you look at your desktop and there's a million files everywhere? You can go to Claude Cowork and say, hey, Claude, I want you to like clean up my entire desktop, go through every single file. It will look at the image. It will rename the file based on the image. It will tell you, hey, do you want this deleted? Do you want this removed? Do you want to keep this one? It will organize it by topics. So that is how powerful it is. So you no longer have to, again, take the time to do all that. Anything that you can do on your computer, AI can do for you. It's that crazy. Like it can click, create files, close files, open files. So you no longer need to build a pitch deck. You no longer need to put together this crazy spreadsheet with projections and formulas and numbers. That's not something you should be doing anymore. I know it sounds crazy, but I promise you, people I'm doing it. Like there's a lot of people that are already living like that. And so what's going to happen, and what listeners need to understand, and business owners, is that there is no way that the professionals that don't implement AI can keep the same jobs that in 10 years from now, if they compare each other, if they compare their job or their role description to someone that is an AI first professional. The same thing happens for
Right.
a company, right? Like if you ask me, I'm going to hire a manager. Why would I hire a manager that is going to charge me the same thing for someone that is going to take 10 hours to perform a specific task when I could hire the same manager for the same price, but it's going to take 2 hours. And so he can use the remaining 8 hours to perform another job or do something that generates more revenue for the business, right? The same exact thing happens for when you compare how businesses that don't implement AI are not going to be able to compete in, 5-10 years from now.
Yeah, definitely. One of the ways that I was using it just last week, I redid the curriculum for my program and I already knew what my trainings were. So, one, I
Mm-hmm.
used AI to help me clean up my talking points because I was like, let me not make this
Oh,
be a huge video. But then when I
mm-hmm.
was done, I thought I was going to have to use Cowork for this, but I just used regular Claude. I just took the transcript of my video and I was like, please help me come up with a worksheet for my clients. Here's my branding. Here are my colors. Here's my typography. And then it came back and was like, okay, if we want this to be a Google Doc,
Yep.
then we need to change the typography because the typography is not available there. So it was smart enough to even think ahead with like, if we use a font that Google Drive doesn't already have, your clients are going to get a messed up file. So, and then it
Mm-hmm.
suggested new ones. I was like, perfect, let's do that. And worksheets used to take me so long.
Yeah. It's such boring work. Like there's no reason. Yeah, I hated that. Like you had me put together a presentation, and I was like, oh my god, it took me 3 hours. I hated the whole. What am I gonna say? So you just get like those 3 hours that you would normally take to put together that draft. Have AI put the draft for you. I literally do
Mhm.
that for every single coaching class that I have, or whatever it is that I'm doing. I have AI do the draft first, and then I just tweak a couple of things here and there, and like that's it. You're done.
Wow.
So that makes a massive difference. And I agree with you. It used to take so much time, and it's not necessary. Like, why would you want your time going there? Honestly.
Yes, exactly. And as we were talking about AI replacing jobs, and then we were talking about the different use cases, I'm like, who's actually going to do that? Like, who's actually going to go through your desktop and look at all the different screenshots you have? Like, you're not going to do that. Your assistant's probably not ever going to
No.
do that. That's just
Right.
going to keep getting delayed and delayed because it's not on the priority list. And it would still make your life so much easier, but it's not on the priority list. Other things are. But
Right.
we could talk about use cases all day. I guess like what are the tools that you think business owners should be using? So we talked about Claude Cowork,
Hmm.
which can actually take over your computer and help you do things. But what else do you think are fundamental tools that business owners should be using?
Yeah. So I am an absolute number one user of Anthropic, right? And so all I do is I used to have a lot of tools, like I used to have Make and then N8N, and I had a bunch of different tools running. And so now the only tools that I have left, I literally just have my Anthropic subscription. And inside Claude Cowork, like one of the things that you must be using is the Chrome extension. If you're not using the Chrome extension to get work done, like that is a massive hack, right? You literally have AI just go fill out forms for you, click places, do research for you. It will do it, right? So that's in terms of using Claude Cowork. I don't type anymore, and that's a huge hack, and that's my number one thing that I recommend to people is like don't be typing anymore because we were born to tell stories, and as humans, we love just sharing who we are, what we do, and what happens is that when we type, we have to think about what we're going to type. We have to write it, and then we have to read it again, and then we have to consume that. So it's a lengthy process, right? It's really time consuming. And you have tools like Whisperflow where you literally just press a key on your keyboard and you just start speaking naturally, like you would be like we're having a conversation right now, and it's going to write everything that you just said. Like you can use that for emails to give Claude or your AI context on everything that you want to do, on who you are, right? And so that's super helpful. So that's definitely one of my tools. Cowork, and my number one, the one that I use on a daily basis, is Claude Code. It's Claude Code is just next level. I mean, Claude Code is everything for me, to be honest, because that's where I build my AI agents, where they just I talk to them and they do work and do things for me. So
Wonderful. And yeah, you're so right about the writing. I can't believe I used to write emails like word by word. Now I just speak it out and I'm like, okay, this is what I want to say. Please help me
Yep.
format this into a high
Yep.
converting email. And even
Yep.
with content as well, where so I think people, even with Yap content, right, how it's been such a
Uh-huh.
big thing lately,
Yep.
people think that others are just so well spoken and they're just concise. And no, it's like to make it look effortless, it actually requires effort. And a lot
Mm-hmm.
of the creators I know, we use AI to be able to kind of like we spill out the story and make it all messy. And then we're like, okay, help me reformat this into a 45-second video.
Totally.
And then we read the
Totally.
script. So it's still our
Totally.
ideas. It's just concise and formatted with the support of AI. Still our story,
Yeah.
still all of that. How do you think
I
that
know.
AI is changing business? And what are some of the trends that you're seeing right now?
AI allows you to just move so much faster. And going back to what you said about content creation, like just to give you an example, I was able to grow my Instagram to 40,000 followers, and that was 25,000 followers just came in the past 4 months after I started using AI to help me grow in social media. So
Amazing.
the reason why I'm saying that is because when you know exactly how to implement it in your business, how to use it to just move faster, right? Like I, I'm telling you, Erica, the only things that I do, right? The only things that I do myself is content creation for social media, right? Because that's how I get my leads. I sit down on sales calls just for consulting, right? And that's it. Like that's it. Everything else, it's either my AI agent or my executive assistant they're doing, right? And so what happens is that it allows you to just move so much faster. It allows you to free up your people, the people in your business, like the humans in your business, right? You free them up so they can actually do high leverage work. And when that happens, your revenue goes up, your profit goes up because your margins go right. You lower your margins. Like it just at a business level, it just allows you to scale. Like there's no other way. It just helps you scale and become a lot more productive.
Wonderful. So my program is specifically all around helping women build their personal brand so that they can make money
Mm-hmm.
off of that. And with the rise of I think we can all agree that personal branding is so important because it's not even just about information,
100%.
right? It's about sharing your story. It's about people being able to see you, people being able to trust you. So when you, as soon as you were like, I used it to help grow my social media, I was like, hold on, we got to talk about this because I know my listeners are going to be like, wait, what did she do? How did she do this? So what
Yeah.
would be some tips that you would maybe give somebody who's looking to grow their audience and grow their personal brand and grow their socials? Whether they already have a business or the goal is to start a business and they know that that's the
Mm-hmm.
best way to start leads, how would you suggest that somebody leverage AI?
Yeah, that's a great question. So let me tell you, when I started, just like I said to my husband, hey, I'm not doing this anymore. I started doing content. That was back in like November or October. I started doing content. And I was like, this is not working out. This is not doing good. It's just regular, normal content. And because I hired a business coach to help me really grow. And it's Dan Martell. He's my business coach and he's very focused on personal brand. So he's like, you need to grow a personal brand. And I'm like, what does that even look like? Right. So then I started looking into AI agents and all this whole AI things on how I'm going to use that to grow my personal brand. And so
Hmm.
I'm sitting in this podcast because an AI agent reached out to you to say, hey, let's have Andrea on a podcast. Okay. So first of all, right, just being on podcasts, by having my AI agent just like do the research, find podcasts, find events, like research, I like this podcast. This is something, obviously, I give it the guidelines on the things that I align with because I don't want to sit with someone that I don't, align with. But those emails, that reach out, that kind of thing, it's being done by AI, right? Number one. And when it comes to content, so I took a content course. I was very like, all right, I'm doing this. And so what happened is that I started using it for research. And you realize that when you're doing content, the whole strategy is not even getting people to like you shouldn't be thinking. I don't want to say that you shouldn't think about people, but if the algorithm doesn't like your piece of content, it's not going anywhere. Nobody's going to
Right.
watch it, nobody's going to read it, right? And so then using AI to do that research for me, to help me find the topics that people resonate with, because that's what you really want to find. You want to find topics that people want to talk about and people want to hear about, right? Because I may love to talk about acquiring a landscaping, but turns out most people are not acquiring a landscaping, so they don't want to hear about that, right?
And
So
they're definitely
instead, they
not
want to
searching
hear.
for that.
There's exactly, they're definitely not searching for that. So if I talk about how to implement AI in a business, I am much like that topic is a lot more likely to take off. So AI helping you with that research just changes things. Number two, it was with the hooks, like understanding that if we are not engaging in the first 3 seconds, like everyone's attention span right now is like 0 to none, right?
Yep.
So if we are not engaging, if we're not saying something interesting, if we're not saying so one of the things that I use to like, I tell AI, like, with this hook, with 99% of people that watch this hook, are they going to stay until the end of the video? If it's a no, then change the hook. Are this as this piece of content? Is someone going to pay $10 to watch this piece of content? If it's a no, then then it must go, right? So using AI to really filter through those scripts, to filter through the hooks, to see which ones are more likely to perform or not perform, are just like huge game changers. I tried having my AI clone do the videos for me, but I realized that like it's a lot more. I just like my just sharing the energies doesn't come across the same. Like we're still not there to the point where it could just share the energy and the vibes, right? Based on what you're trying to say to it, it will read the script like super like this, very calm, and I'm not like that. So it just you could really tell the difference on which ones was my AI clone and which one was really me.
Yeah.
Because you can really have AI be clone you, and it sounds just like you and it looks just like you, right? It's just a matter of just the energy and how it comes across that.
Exactly. Yeah. And then you don't want somebody to get on a consult call with you and then you're like this bubbly person. Well, and it's not that there's anything wrong with being bubbly. It's a huge strength. But if your AI clone is like a very different vibe, and then, I think one of the 100%. Biggest compliments I get from people is that, oh my gosh, you're exactly like you are online. And I'm like, how can I be someone else?
I completely agree. I totally take that as a compliment too, because I'm the type of person that I will record videos without makeup, like looking, because I want people to really feel like I don't want to be somebody else when they see me in person, right? I don't want to look different. I don't want to act different. I don't want to be anybody else but who I am. Like I've come across it. It's been a massive, super long journey for me to learn to love myself. And now I really do. So now I don't want to change myself or look any different, right? And so using AI to really just help show the person that you are, but just be able to put content a lot faster, right? And then the last way that I use it is just I create a piece of content, I upload it to my Airtable database, and it just goes out to like Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube, like all my social media platforms, and it's all like just upload it, one click, done. It can also edit videos, by the way, which is, it's still like not as great as a video editor, because I'm not going to say that it is. It's not, but if you don't have anybody else doing it for you, it helps.
Yeah, definitely. And it's only a matter of time, I think, before it gets at this rate, right? For it to now be able to edit videos.
So fast.
Yeah, exactly.
So fast.
I agree with everything you said about leveraging AI for content, specifically because this is what I help my clients with. But a big thing I've been telling them is the hook matters more than anything. Like you have to deliver on what the hook is, right? You can't have clickbaity and then not deliver on the message. 100%. But usually my clients they have this wonderful message, and then it's just lacking on the format or the hook. Which then I tell them, I was like, this is like having a gourmet sauce in like a dog food can. Like it's just not packaged in the way that people won't pick it up because they don't know how great it is on the inside. So the hook matters more than anything. And then what you mentioned about leveraging AI, about what is it that people are actually searching for right now, or what are they interested in, because we've transitioned from this like social media to this interest-based media. And now if your feed is full of things you're interested in, it's not full of your friends. So it's so important to create content based on what people are interested in. And like, I feel like we could do a whole separate podcast episode on that. But is there anything I didn't ask you, Andrea, that you want to talk about or that you think is important that the listeners know?
No, I think you're 100% right on everything you said. In fact, it reminded me of a conversation I was speaking yesterday to my best friend, and she's like, I'm casually talking. She works in corporations. She works for what's it called, Accenture, PW.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't remember.
Hmm.
PW, is that what it's called?
I'm not sure about PW, but Accenture I'm familiar with. I've done
Okay.
like brand
Well,
partnerships
one
with
of the
them.
big, yeah, one of the big names, right, in consulting,
Is it
and I'm
PWN?
just, there you go, that one.
Okay.
So I'm talking to her and I'm casual. I'm just like, well, you know what Hormozy says, right? So I think everybody in the world knows Hormozy. Like, I think he's just brilliant brain, right? Everyone should know
Yeah.
about it. She's like, who? Like, Hormozy. Who? Do you don't know who Hormozy, Alex Hormozy is? It's like, I have no idea. I have no idea who that is. I'm like, what? So then it just reminded me that the internet is this whole world, right? Where
Yeah.
anyone that's into entrepreneurship, it's like you see Hormozy and you're like, I'm super well aware of who Hormozy is, right? But
Yeah.
for anyone that's not in entrepreneurship and they're interested in other things, so you will find your tribe of people. You will find people that vibe with and align with the things that you align with, right? It's just knowing how to get to them, just knowing what type of, like, how to reach that audience, because the algorithm has to know exactly who you are, what you talk about, what you do, in order for it to just put out the content out to the people that it's relevant for. So,
Hmm.
so yeah, completely
Yeah.
agree with the interesting.
Yes, exactly. It's so funny how social media is almost like everybody's own version of reality, where like we all see different things in the world. Like we could all take the exact same trip, exact same days, and then what you get out of it is so different. And it's because it's like what you focus on. I'm into spirituality as well. So I'm like, the algorithm is literally like law of attraction. It's like the more you focus on something, the more it shows you more of that.
Yeah,
And it's
it's
crazy that
crazy.
that's how like life works too. Is
Yeah,
there
I was gonna say that. I'm like, that's exactly how life works too. I mean, and it's crazy because like you really do and you really can. I mean, I don't know if this is like a topic for the podcast, but like I'm so into just really knowing that you can build the life that you want. It's just manifesting it, and you start working towards it. Like I'm telling you, 6 months ago, I was dreaming of being exactly where I am right now. And I'm just like, wow, the crazy things that happen when you really set your mind to something and just become consistent and become disciplined and just put in the work, and just the opportunities start lining up, the things start showing up. And I don't know, it's just crazy that, like you said, just that's the way life happens, right? It's just what you're thinking about, what you're manifesting into your life, the good and the bad, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And it can be, we're so conditioned to naturally look at the bad side. I don't know if it's a Latina thing or if it's just a human nature thing, right? Where we're kind of more negatively conditioned for survival, but we can
Mm-hmm.
also train our brain to look at the possibilities and focus on those and take the aligned action for that. So yeah, you're definitely speaking
Yeah.
my language with
Yeah,
manifestation.
100%. And you know what? I didn't. The last thing that I would have expected is that business would have put me in such a spiritual journey. And what I mean when I say that is like you completely have to change your identity to become to for you to have the things that you want to have. You need to do things that will put you out of your comfort zone. In order for you to do
Mhm.
those things, you have to change who you are and change your identity. And that happened to me as I was in this path of building the business that I was dreaming of, and building, having the money that I wanted to have, and
Yeah.
all these things. And I didn't realize that it was all a matter of who I had to become as a human, right? And I don't know, it's crazy. It's pretty
Yeah.
crazy stuff.
No, you're definitely right. It's identity is such a big part of it. And like our self-concept and the way we see ourselves shapes everything. It shapes like the risks we take, the actions we
Everything.
take, the actions we don't take, what we respond to, what we don't. So yeah. Well, I'm so glad that your AI agent reached out and that we were on this podcast.
I know. I'm so glad. Thank you so much for inviting me to be here, because it really was a great conversation. So I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too. I'm actually going to be headed to Miami in August, so I'll send you a message. Maybe we can meet
Oh,
up for
that'd be
coffee.
great. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. That'd be awesome. That'd be
So for
awesome.
the people who don't follow you already, where can they connect with you? And we'll have everything linked down below, but go ahead and tell us.
Yeah, yeah, of course. So I'm on every single social media platform. Like I said, my AI just spreads it everywhere. But I'm actually just more active myself on Instagram. So that's kind of where I live. It's Andrea Palacio, just my first name, last name, and yeah, that's where I spend most of my time.
Wonderful. Well, we will link all of that below, your Instagram, your TikTok, your YouTube, your LinkedIn, as well as your website.
Mm-hmm.
And if those of you listening took anything away from this conversation, be sure to take a screenshot and tag both Andrea and myself. And Andrea will be reaching out to you. Thank you so much for coming on the
Yeah, of
podcast.
course. Let's connect on in when you come to Miami.
Okay, sounds good. Have a
All
good
right.
rest of your day.
Thank you. You as well.
Thank you so much for joining me this week. Make sure to visit theericacruz.com. That's Erica with a K, where you can subscribe to the show so you'll never miss an episode. You can help this podcast grow by supporting me with an Apple Podcast rate and review. If you took anything away from this episode, I invite you to take a screenshot and share it on social media so that your favorite badass Latinas can also check it out. Be sure to tag me at the Erica Cruz. That's Erica with a K, because you know I want to see it. If you're ready to join the revolution and be a part of the Courage Driven Latina community, visit couragedrivenlatina.com to get more information and join the waitlist. Thanks again, and I'll see you next week.